Gracias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Buy up, buy up. And in menudo style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel. It's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled and very much appreciative. So gracias. So what did I tell you guys a couple months back, right? When the Norteños pulled up to No Jumper and Lefty Gunplay was feeling some type of way. And there was a long line of Northerners that kept pulling up. We had Big Tone and Bands and Rico Too Smooth. And there's been rumored to be others, right? And of course it kicked off with Lazy Boy the Sajo. I said it. Do you remember? I said the Bulldogs were the next to pull up on No Jumper for facts. 100, right? I keep it 100. Guess who pulled up to No Jumper? Fade 300 and the Fresno Bulldogs, right? Exactly like I told you. You know, I got at a couple homeboys from Fresno that laced me up in the game and gave me a few little inside, outside details of what was going on, some of the negotiation tactics behind the scenes. But even before that, right? You could see the writing on the wall. You could see where this is heading. Right? Look, there's a gang of people that are like, you should be happy. No, I shouldn't be happy because I didn't gain nothing from it, right? But the raza should be happy that Adam 22 is putting on the raza. First of all, putting them on where? He's putting them on notice, man, that, hey, he's the biggest channel in the West Coast, that he's the biggest everything, and that the only way to the pie, to a piece of the pie, is through him. But at the end of the day, what do you really gain? I've only seen one guy, period, get any type of recognition getting a fucking interview off fucking Adam's channel. And look, to be totally honest with you, it's not because what Adam did for him. He was going to do that anyways. That was in the scripture, homie. That was foretold. His attitude, his go-getter attitude, his work ethic is what got him where he's at right now, where he's finally starting to make a little bit of bread. Finally starting to catch up, right? Tomatoes in the back pocket. But to be totally honest with you, I don't see what it does, how it benefits people going on this platform, but to each their own. You know, if that's how they feel, that's how they feel. But anyways, so the Fresno Bulldogs have pulled up, Fade 300. And when I was asked, like, hey, what Bulldogs in the industry or in the game would pull up there? And I said, you know what, I'm not going to say would pull up there because the Bulldogs are a little bit different. Their attitude, they're a little bit more renegade-ish, right? And when I say renegade-ish, I meant like this, right? They don't listen to what anyone, they're out of the norm, out of the box. You know, what you can expect from a Bulldog is the unexpected. You know, they don't go by a structure or a pattern or politics that you would think that you would follow. They do what the fuck they want to do, right? So at the same time, you have to understand that, you know, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what they got going on and how they're going to do it. You know, the Bulldogs have been very quiet during this whole North and South banging on wax beef with Lazy Boy and Lefty and Rico and Little Weirdo and all these guys, right? They've been very quiet, very in the cuts. And why not? Why shouldn't they be? You know, for a long time, the focus has been on the Bulldogs or to eradicate the Bulldogs. And people always disrespect them and talk about they ain't with the business. They ain't about that because the CDC has segregated them and kept them to their own. But at the end of the day, after 30 plus years of gangbanging, these guys are still around. They've still survived. So you got to give them that respect, man. You know, that's the thing is people that their foundation and their gang is built on respect, they constantly disrespect. It's weird, right? Now, what does this do for the Perro Chatos, the Bulldogs pulling up to No Jumper? Well, this is the first time in the game they're going to get worldwide recognition besides Gangland, right? The Bulldogs being located in the Central Valley, like an hour away from where I'm from, you know, old school 209. It's now 559. You know, outside of Northern California, Central California, not a lot of people hear about the Perro Chatos, the Fresno Bulldogs. But they've been rocking for a long time, all the way from back in the days to the F-14 days. And I've done new video after video, and so many people have done numerous videos giving you the history of the Fresno Bulldogs, and respectfully. But at the same time, You know, this generation of dogs is different from the generation of dogs that I know. Look, I'm gonna tell you guys a fact, honest to God truth here. First thing in the morning, every morning, man, a bulldog reaches out to me with many blessings and a buenos dias. It's the first, and it's a trip that I say that and that's the way it is because I would never think that. You know, those became our enemigas when I was in the youth authority, and those were a very vicious adversary. You know, Bulldogs were once Norteños, and they fought like it. Okay, so for anyone to sit there and talk shit about the dogs and disrespect them, you know, slide into Fresno and see what you see and do what you do. You know, that's all I tell everyone. Now, outside of Fresno and all that, yeah, it's all good, man. They're in one city or this one county, let's just say. But you know, the Bulldogs their presence is felt definitely in that city. I'll tell you this right now: they control Fresno with the tight fist or dog paw. That's it. But yeah, so they're pulling up to LA. So let's talk about Adam. You know, there's a lot of people that say Adam is stirring the pot. Me being one of them. I've said in the past that he went from someone who promotes entertainment, rap music, the betterment of people, positivity, to someone who started to get involved in gang politics, the pushing of the agenda of active gang members or whatever, right? You know, he plays that role like he's with the actives. Come on now. Anyone who's active, who's with the business knows damn well Adam couldn't hang on a 1 yard, right? But because he's got bread, you know, that could all be forgiven. That could all be put on the back burner because he's got a platform and bread. He's got a few cameras and a fucking studio he pays $1,500 a month for. Cool, man. It is what it is. If you're willing to put aside your morals and your integrity and all that, you know, for a little bit of shine, do you, man? I ain't mad at you, right? But just understand that this guy, there's a reason why everything is done. Okay, there's a lot of accusations that have been made about this guy, just like there's a lot of accusations made about me and anyone else. So instead of rather accusing this guy of those accusations continuously, I'm going to go ahead and step back from doing that and just say to each their own, man. If they want to go down there, these Bulldogs, to LA and do a podcast, why not? Who's going to stop them, right? Obviously, of course, man, none of these podcasts with Northerners or Bulldogs or anyone else that's considered the opposition of Southern California or the Sureños, Southsiders, none of these are live. These aren't taped live. They're pre-recorded, right? You know, none of these pictures on IG that Adam drops are dropped. And that's for safety and security reasons. I understand that, man. You know, I'd be sitting here dumb. And the ones that say, oh, why don't you let it be known when you're here? Of course not. The same way when Vatos go to Fresno, they don't let it be known either. You know, it goes both ways, man. So I don't blame Adam's security measure and what he has to do to facilitate these interviews. But a lot of the things Adam does is for shock value, right? And it shocks the people in Southern California that Adam is allowing these well-known enemies of guys from down south to just come in to Southern California and get comfortable. But really, it's just a goddamn interview, man. It really ain't that big of a deal. But I've just noticed how Adam has thrown his hat in the brass ring when it comes to gang politics and certain groups. Now, Faith 300's a rapper, a very good rapper out of Fresno. I like him. He's a youngster, man. He's from that different era of dogs, the different era of dogs that I don't really understand, but I respect, right? Bulldog changed. You ain't gonna see a Bulldog without an Edgar in this motherfucking, you know? Hey, the Edgar dogs, right? And they're different, right? But I'm gonna be honest with you. The motherfuckers are clappers, though. They'll clap your whole shit off and respects to them. But I'm used to the old school F-14er dogs, you know, Mongolians and big old perro chatos on their forehead, right? Nowadays, hey, if you have a Bulldog right here, don't trip. Just cover it with the Edgar. Comb forward. That's it. Right? So look, shout out to the Bulldog, man. I'm just fucking with you guys. Don't get all mad at me, man, and take the keys to the city away from your boy. Fresno is a different place, right? And so I hope Adam is prepared for a little bit of a different interview with these guys. You know, like I said, Faith 300 is a good rapper. He comes from the younger generation. I knew his father. His father and I were in the youth authority together, man, from College Street. That's a fact, right? The dude looks just like his father did back then. And his father was with the business. He was one of the first, he was a Norteño at the time, Bulldog, and then, just kind of let it go and just became Dog. But I remember he had a 1 right here and a 4 dots right here. It was like and I remember because that's what I was going to get. So I told you guys the story when we were in Hawaii, we were all getting, and I got a 14 over my, but we were all getting tattoos. And that was just because we got tired of getting jumped on, getting hit up. So it was just like, man, if we're going to get jumped, we don't even want to talk about it. Just let it be known, right? So K9 from Fresno got an F14. I think Porky got a 14. I did. Cisco had XIV. He was from Frisco. A couple other homeboys, but Shorty got the 1 dot and the 4 dots right here, right? And I remember that's what I wanted to get in the beginning. I was like, oh man, I'm going to get the 1-4. Then Shorty came out to sell with it. I was like, Bulldogs are different, right? Motherfucker, copycat motherfuckers, right? That's how I felt. That was the homie though. But I will say this, his son looks just like him and he became a rapper. And so I like the way Adam does things to this effect. He'll bring guys on that are actually in the industry as rappers, but then not talk about rap. You notice that? So he'll bring the guys in and then he'll talk about gang stuff and who they get along with. Best believe he's going to mention Lefty Gunplay. Best believe he's going to mention Norteños. Best believe he's going to mention all these little things to try to get a soundbite, to try to get the Bulldogs to trip up and say something. But here's the thing, man. With Bulldogs, see, this is what Adam doesn't quite understand, but I'm going to give him the knowledge he can't get in college. They don't give a fuck. They're going to say what they say and stand by it because they are enemies with everyone. They are opposed to all structure and they are opposed to the programming part of it, right? They do their own program. So, he's in for a little bit of a thrill, but, I think it's going to be a good interview. Now, what's going to happen now with the Southerners? How are they going to feel about this? This guy Adam's allowing every different group to pull up to their pad, basically, their backyard. Did Adam clear this with people? Is he kicking in? Because every story that I've heard about Southern California, man, you don't just fucking wiggle like that. You can go visit. And if you're a grown man, you go wherever the fuck you want to go, right? But there's consequences and repercussions for pulling up to certain spots. So I think Adam can only continue to get away with this for so much longer before he's jammed up. And, he's got at about, situations because that'd be just like, all right, it's like my neighborhood. In my neighborhood back in the days, man, I don't give a fuck if you were another Norteño. Doesn't matter who you were. If you pulled up, not invited, someone was going to say something. Maybe not me, maybe not the homie right next to me, but someone eventually was going to say something like, damn, what you thought thinking you're doing, bro? You think you can just come in here and bone our chicks? It ain't going to happen, right? So okay, guess what? And that was that. And then that's how drama starts, right? Because people feel disrespected when you come to their pad unannounced or on a disrespectful tip. And of course, this right here, bringing prison gang member enemies, to the spot is definitely disrespectful and people can feel some type of way. I understand the situation. Hey, in reality, it's not a fucking big deal. He's just interviewing a few Bulldogs, right? It looks like a few youngsters and an OG with them in the wheelchair, right? But at the end of the day, just because I feel that way, I'm not even from Southern California, so I can't speak on how they feel. But I'm just going to say that there are different dudes that feel differently everywhere you go. So eventually it will become an issue and a problem. You brought 1 Norteño, 2 Norteño, 3 Norteño, 4. Now you got the Bulldogs knocking on the door, right? It's a slap in the Southsiders' face, but at the same time, I guess Adam's able to do whatever he wants to do and still facilitate good conversation and good relationships with Southerners. They respect this man. So, it is what it is. I've never seen someone have this much authority or be able to do whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it. I've just never seen it. Again, it's just podcasting. It's just social media. I'm just throwing out there how I feel, what I see. Now, do I think that this stirs up more controversy? Maybe, maybe not. The Bulldogs are not very well known outside of Central and Northern California, like I said. A lot of these guys from down south only know of the Bulldogs because of the Gangland episode or they've been incarcerated. But there's very few people that have actually done time with Bulldogs because Bulldogs are segregated in the California Department of Corrections. And it's not just for their safety and security, man. That's one of the reasons, facts. But it's more so because every time they try to integrate these guys, people go off or they get off, right? And them being the minority group, having less numbers, I mean, it would be a slaughter. And that's a fact. Norteños are barely hanging on yards, on certain yards. You know, it wasn't until 10 years ago that they even started to really send groups of Norteños down in Southern California institutions. And this happened to be because of the end of hostilities. I mean, prior to that, don't get it twisted. They were always sending Norteños down south, but they would send them in 2s or 1s, and they'd get whacked, hit right off the bus. It was all bad. It was all bad. Imagine, man, being a Norteño and getting off the bus in Centinela or Calipatria or any one of those southern institutions, Chino, and you're the only homie there, man, and Vatos they recognize that. What do you think's going to happen? They're not going to allow you to walk their yard. They're going to fucking bang you out. Bam, you're gone. And that was happening for a lot of years. The numbers game, right? And then after the end of hostilities, then, of course, Norteños were able to go. But even still then, they're in only certain places. You know, the Norteños don't have enough numbers to fill up every single yard or to even be on every yard in the California Department of Corrections. It's different, whereas the Southerners have the numbers to be on every yard in America. They're just deeper. And the Bulldogs ain't even a percentage of that when it comes to Northerners. So they maybe are on 2 or 3, maybe 4 yards in the CDC. And righteously, man, active, doing their thing, you know. But you see what happens. We seen what happened a few months ago when they put the Bulldogs, you know, on a yard. They had to get off where they were mad at, man. The Northerners and Southerners ran up on them, did their thing, right? So, I mean, it's a situation where that's how it is. That's where the Bulldogs stand at this point. You know, they are not involved in the hostilities. So they're pretty much anybody can get it gang. They're against everybody. You know, they are down for whatever. So Adam is playing with fire again because now he's inviting a group that has been disrespectful on all sides or is not respected, not even a little bit, on all sides by active gang members, you know, from them groups. Me, myself, I respect everyone, man, and I know what the Bulldogs have been about. I've done a lot of time with them in the youth authority. I can't say in prison, but in the youth authority, absolutely, right? And I'll tell you right now, man, they're with the smacktivity. You know what I'm saying? Hey, no doubt about it. Shout out to the Fresno Bulldogs. Now, as far as stirring the pot and how are people going to feel some type of way, they're just Chicanos, man. They're just brown. They ain't no different from anyone else other than they wear a different color, man, and they come from a different part of California. But until we're able to get over these barriers, these invisible lines drawn in the sand, what we think we're supposed to do, then we're never going to progress as a people. You know, so that's the truth of the matter. So Adam brings the Bulldogs on, and the homie was like, damn, you called it, Gun. You called it. I didn't call it. The homie told me. You know what I mean? And I'm just being real. But I did kind of call it because the writing was on the wall, like, all right, you got North, you already do South, Bulldogs are next. Boom. Adam's got an, either I gave him the idea or he was already doing it. Either way, man, it's not a confusing thing to me. You know that this is just the way it is. Faye 300 is a good rapper. I just would hope that when Adam did, because he's already done this interview, that when he's done this interview, he talks about this guy's career and his rapping and sticks to that and doesn't necessarily get into the gang politics and the gang aspect. Because the way the Bulldogs speak, man, it's only, they're going to speak their mind. And them being the ones that get jumped on in prison, that are the enemies of everyone, of course they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. And that's just going to stir up more bullshit. So, I mean, that's what Adam likes, the drama. That's what sells, I guess. And people get at me, oh, you're just mad because Adam got... I don't give a fuck what he's got. He might got herpes, too. For all I know, with this old lady fucking with everyone she is. I'm just saying, what I am saying is this. You know, stop stirring up controversy with the raza. Stop being a culture vulture and living off the sweat of the brow of the brown and black man. And, you know, if you're going to be a fucking guy that wants to entertain, talk and help these guys prosper in their fucking careers, then ask them about their careers and not their careers in the streets. Because right there, that's a Fed fucking move right there. That's a Fed move. You know, like you're trying to get them to speak on certain crimes and shit to get them indicted. It's an ugly situation. All you guys that are going on this podcast, man, I hope you guys know what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, man, if you guys end up getting indicted or something like that, I can't put money on all your books. What I can do is this. Say, I told you. You know, think about the situation before you go speaking on your hood, your vaudeville, the intricacies and the details of what you got going on. Think about what you say before you're saying it, who you're saying it to. You know, because this man is cutthroatish. The same guys that he has on there one week are the same guys that he's talking shit about the next. So be smart, be intelligent, move with class, dignity, morals, and keep your respect. With that being said, I hope that you guys move smooth with a purpose, get everything that you want coming. Let me know what you guys think about the Bulldogs pulling up. We've had Norteños pull up. I mean, it was a lot of drama. Bands pulled up like, this is how we do it, right? That motherfucker. Other than that, I think all the other Norteños kept it very respectful. You know, Lazy Boy was the first one, and he looked a little nervous. And I understand he was the first one to do it, allegedly. I mean, there was Norteños in the past that have done it that people didn't know about. We'll keep it right there, though. Rico, smooth. Did it too smooth, right? Big Tone, of course, I wouldn't expect anything less from Tone. He carries himself with class, man. He's a northerner from my area, from my era, and that's just what it is, man. I wouldn't expect anything less. And of course, bands went on there like, yee! That motherfucker went on there like, the Bay Area, and that's just what that is. So anyways, but for the most part, Norteños kept it smooth. Let's see how the Bulldogs keep it. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming, and remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive, the struggle, the struggle, the strive. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears guns crown. And I'm going to do what I do, man, and respects to all. The gun. Bang, bang.